Yes, I can see.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I will kick it off then. So, well, thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to share how revenue performance will help the lodging industry rebound faster. Before I start, let me quickly introduce myself. So I'm Matthias. I am in the Revenue Performance Solutions team of Expedia Group, and I'm based in Geneva, Switzerland. So, well, I think if you're here today, then like myself, you must be passionate about travel. Travel has the power to change lives. It opens our minds and helps us understand other people and cultures. But of course, unfortunately, the pandemic has had a big impact on travel. And when we think of EMEA, many countries have different restrictions and levels of recovery. For some destinations, travel actually recovered quite nicely, especially over the summer. But at the moment, it's not looking so good with new lockdowns being put in place. And I'm sure you'll agree, this doesn't make the job easier for revenue managers as they have to constantly adapt to changing situations. But this also means revenue leaders are in a unique position to demonstrate the value they provide to their organizations and the value of the revenue performance discipline within the broader travel industry. So today, I'm going to share how our solutions help partners optimize revenue in this context. And instead of just telling you how to use them, I'll share how other revenue leaders are taking advantage of our tools in order to be more successful. So let's see how these partners use data and technology to make informed decisions and drive revenue performance. Our mission in the Revenue Performance Solutions team is to democratize revenue performance insights and level the playing field for all lodging and vacation rental partners. Whether you're a small boutique hotel, a large hotel, or whether you manage a vacation rental property, we want to help you make revenue decisions by giving you the right data and insights. And we want the experience to be intuitive, simple, and time efficient because, well, as you all know, time is a precious resource, even more so these days. Webplus, which you can see on the left, is our solution for conventional lodging properties. You can access it in the Expedia Partner Central extranet. And Market Maker on the right is our solution for vacation rental properties and can be found in the Verbo dashboard. And in these tools, you'll find competitive rate intelligence and market performance data to maximize your revenue. And the great thing is that both solutions are actually free as part of your Expedia Group partnership. Now, there are two words I've mentioned a few times already, maybe you noticed, and they are revenue performance. Let's see what we mean by that. Revenue performance is an approach that evolved from the traditional practice of revenue management. And you'll probably agree that using historical data to predict demand is not very reliable at all at the moment. Future demand conditions are hard to predict, and you may have been able to make some good guesses based on past data before COVID, but that really doesn't help much anymore, right? So, for example, if a lodging partner had 85% occupancy in 2019 on a certain date, it really doesn't mean that this year they can expect the same. And to tackle this challenge, we've seen a shift in the way revenue leaders use data to make decisions in this new context. With a revenue performance approach, the focus is now on maximizing demand by using both forward-looking and historical data. And all of that with the perspective of how the market and the competitive set are performing. But how exactly do you do that? You need three things to adopt this approach. One, having access to real-time pricing data because things changed so quickly in a competitive market. Two, forward-looking demand indicators to better prepare for future dates. And three, actionable insights to make sense of the data and not spend days analyzing it. And where can you find this information? Lodging properties across the world are using our solutions to grow their revenue performance. And in the next, roughly 20 minutes, I'll take you through a few ways how partners are finding success. Partners who are finding success are thinking forward, not backward. They typically want to know which dates customers are searching in their market so they can prepare accordingly. This is a good example of forward-looking data that helps revenue leaders make the right decisions. It is something unique that Expedia Group can offer due to the global data that we have, and we are sharing it with you in Webplus. Here's a screenshot of the calendar view in Webplus, which you can find in Partner Central under Revenue Management. And what I want to highlight is search demand, which helps properties see the page views for any upcoming stay date in the next 365 days at either market or sub-market level. This gives a good overview of some dates which are in high demand, as well as other dates that are still fairly quiet. You will be able to find this by clicking on the Customize Calendar button. So it sounds pretty simple, right? But how can we make this data actionable? Let me share how partners are finding success using the search demand data from Webplus. So it helps them understand if their price is well positioned to capture demand on a given date. For instance, if demand is high, is this an indicator to maximize rate? Or if demand is low, it may be time to work on marketing initiatives to increase visibility. There are some, so these are some of the questions that would come to mind. By knowing the demand on a given day, it becomes easier to identify what actions can be taken in order to steal a little bit more share from competitors. High demand, well, it's definitely a good signal. I'm mostly focusing on Webplus today, but for vacation rental partners that might be listening in this afternoon, our Market Maker solution displays search demand in a graphical view. So with the same type of insights, it gives the complete picture of the demand in the market. So in this screenshot, you can see last year's searches in blue compared to this year's searches in yellow, displayed on for each day. And as you can see in this example, it's quite a nice increase. You can also switch on market rates as well as market occupancy to carry out further analysis. For revenue leaders who know when guests are searching, a logical next step is to ask which dates are already being booked. So if guests are searching for certain days, it does not automatically mean they are also booking, right? Maybe they're just looking and dreaming about their next holiday. We can't be 100% sure. Feedback we've heard often from partners was that the wish to benchmark their own occupancy with the occupancy in the market. They want to know whether the current occupancy at their property was ahead or behind the overall market occupancy. A common revenue practice in the past was to compare the occupancy to the same time last year, sometimes referred to as booking pace versus last year. And it can be helpful, but since the pandemic is having such a big impact and travel restrictions change all the time, it might not be so useful now. Let's see how properties are finding success by comparing their performance to the market with Webplus. To help think forward, we provide a solution to our partners, and we call it current market occupancy. This is an estimate of the percentage of sold rooms in the market. You can think of it as the current occupancy level as of this moment, but at market level. Let me share how our partners would use it. As we see in this visual, occupancy stands out in this market on Friday and Saturday, so next week, the 3rd and 4th of December. This could be an indicator that the market continues to have a short booking window, which is one way our partners use this metric. Another way is to compare their performance, in this case occupancy, to the market. They would ask themselves, am I ahead or behind the market occupancy shown here? If their own occupancy is behind, they'd start thinking about actions they can take to generate more occupancy. Or if their own occupancy is ahead, they might increase their rates. They can also reflect on what tactics worked well and continue to use them. And of course, they can feel a bit more comfortable that what they're doing is going well. Finally, this metric also helps improve forecast accuracy. Forecasting is more and more difficult when you can't predict demand, but by taking into account external data, properties can create a more reliable forecast and also optimize it over time. So we've seen how forward-looking data helps partners anticipate what's ahead. We know when people search as well as when they book. Now, what can we do with this data? Let's review how partners who are finding success are managing to attract demand from different types of travelers. As you know, travelers have different needs, motivations, and booking behaviors, and COVID has, of course, impacted all of these as well. A blanket approach doesn't work to convince everyone to stay, so there's definitely a need to do things different. Let me ask you this. Have you ever wondered, how can I attract frequent travelers, international travelers, or travelers who stay longer? In order to attract demand from these groups, you'll need to know, 1, if your property stands out to these travelers, and 2, if your price is competitive and of value to them. But this is not always easy to see, especially, and potentially requires a lot of manual work, right? Well, these are exactly the type of questions we're making easier to answer with Webplus. So earlier this year, we introduced the Package Competitive Prices page. This helps partners review their package prices, so hotel and flight, and compare them to each of their competitors. The reason they want to know this information is because package travelers are a segment who often stay longer, book further in advance, and cancel less. Previously, to compare your pricing to attract this segment, it was time-consuming and inefficient, and you needed to go onto the live website really to manually compare different offers. So by showing this price data in Webplus, it saves time and helps you be more competitive to offer a strong value offer to these travelers. You can put yourself in the shoes of the traveler, and you can see what they see when booking a package with flight and hotel, all in one place here in the Package Competitive Prices feature. Another traveler type that partners are finding success with is the loyal traveler who books very frequently. Previously, it was very time-consuming here as well to know how competitors were pricing for the loyal audience of members, as we call them at Expedia. So to help target these travelers with the right offer and grow revenue, you have the option to select member rates in Webplus as shown here on the screen. This price data is displayed in a real time and is available for the next 365 days, like any other pricing data that we're showing in Webplus. And it's another simple way to see how your price is positioned within the market. Again, you can put yourself in the shoes of the traveler or member in this case, and you can see which property they are most likely to book. To help target the many other types of travelers, successful partners typically customize parameters based on point of sale, so meaning the country where the travelers are searching from, room type, length of stay, number of travelers, and now also available cancellation flexibility as well as breakfast included. Keep in mind, the demand around you changes frequently, and so does the pricing of your competition. And many successful leaders, revenue leaders, use these different parameters to target specific travelers with the right offer. So this is a way to easily see what your price looks like from different perspectives. Now, we've seen how successful partners use forward-looking data and attract different types of travelers. And so far, we've mostly talked about price. Offering the right price is important, but is it all that matters? At the end of the day, price is all about the value that customers perceive, right? And another way our lodging partners are finding success is by adding value, for example, through increasing flexibility. We'll all agree that flexibility has become increasingly important, I think, and travelers want peace of mind that they can change their booking without penalty if they are unable to make their trip. At the same time, travelers also want more value in everything they buy. But if you already have flexible terms, you're probably wondering, do I need to do more? And if you don't, you might be wondering, when does it make sense to offer more flexibility? To help partners be more competitive, we showed the cancellation policy for the lowest available rate for your property and each of your competitors. You can find this by clicking into any date in the Webplus calendar or price grid. In this example, we see two properties, one with flexible cancellation until November 25th, and the other with a cancellation deadline on November 23rd. The pricing, as you can see on the right, is different by 10 euros between the two. Well, which one would you choose? For some, the perceived value may increase drastically if more flexibility is offered. Viewing cancellation policies side by side with price gives revenue leaders a more holistic view, and it makes it easier to make revenue performance decisions. What we keep hearing is that revenue leaders want things to be simple. Revenue management can often be perceived daunting, complex, and quite overwhelming, and I'm sure we've all felt lost in the data and systems before. Now, because of this, many revenue leaders wonder, how can I simplify my approach? How can I make my job a bit easier? Often, lodging partners would tell us revenue management is too time-consuming, or I just don't have enough time to look at everything. What they needed was a way to gather the right data and insights, take action, and move on with speed. To help our partners simplify, we put everything in the price grid section in Webplus. Partners can see how their competitors are priced and what the demand is in the market with the help of the destination insights, which you can see at the bottom. You've got everything in one place. You can spot trends, you can identify opportunities, and make decisions more quickly. Now, for those of you who prefer to absorb data visually, like myself, for example, we offer this. So this is the chart view. Revenue leaders tell us they are successful when they quickly identify trends and patterns to know when something is changing and when they need to act. So this is price grid and chart view in Webplus. Once properties have simplified their approach, it's time for them to set themselves up for success. Lodging partners that are successful manage to stay informed and stay ahead, despite having little time to constantly check systems and competitors. But how do they do that? Do they log in every 2 hours to see how the market is changing? There must be another way, right? We've heard a lot of feedback from partners that sounds like this. I can't keep track of what's happening in the market and within the comp set. Well, fair enough. Travel demand changes rapidly, and so do the tactics of your competitors. And if you knew when to pay attention, you could stay informed and stay ahead, right? Here's a question for you. How often have you missed a chance to increase your rates because you didn't know something changed in the market? Webplus Notifications is a solution for this challenge. You can find this feature by clicking on Customize Webplus in the top right corner. Typically, successful revenue leaders customize their notifications to avoid missing out on revenue opportunities. They'll automatically get an alert when something changes in the market. You can set the notification thresholds to what is most appropriate for your market. Depending on how active your comp set is, different percentages may make sense. So just go and try it out. You might also want to know anytime a specific competitor changes their rate. This is possible, and you can add notifications to the default list and customize them so they best fit your needs. Now, let me give you another example of a notification on the next slide. This is a price optimization alert shown on the screen in red. These alerts help you know exactly when to optimize your price. Using data science algorithms, Webplus informs you if your price may be too low or too high compared to your competitors. By clicking into the price optimization, so the red icon, you'll learn the logic of why your price may be too low, and as a result, you can take appropriate action if this fits your strategy. So in this case, maybe increase your rate. If you manage a vacation rental property, you can access these price optimization alerts in Market Maker in Verbo dashboard. The system shows you average rates in the market and also suggests prices which you can accept if this is in line with your strategy. Great. So I hope you've all enjoyed hearing about how lodging partners across the world are finding success by taking a revenue management approach. And one last point that I would like to highlight is that revenue performance is a team initiative. So it needs to involve everyone. You should not feel like you're the only one at your property who bears this responsibility. So by aligning every member of your organization to your revenue objectives and empowering them to take action, you will be in a better position to achieve success. And I really encourage you to involve the entire team and create a culture where every role helps drive revenue performance. Before I go, one last question for you. With today's learnings, what additional actions can you take starting now to help your property with the revenue rebound? I hope I was able to give you some inspiration this afternoon. Well, thank you all for staying with me. It was great to be here. Feel free to connect on LinkedIn. You can find me under Matthias Florian Getto. And I wish you all lots of success with your revenue performance. Here at Expedia Group, we're certainly happy to help along the way.